Hey folks, today we're going to talk about how to kind of help our morning routines be more fun, simple, and helpful for our entire day. If our life is dedicated to, living, being happy, hopefully, and hopefully more importantly, being a benefit to all sentient beings, including ourselves, all that starts off in the morning, as we know from expressions like, getting off out of the bed on the right foot and that kind of thing. So today I'm going to just talk about a couple things I do, and more importantly, I think it would be helpful if all of you want to help each other and leave, maybe just one specific thing you feel like you do in the morning that helps you be clear, be relaxed, be confident, be helpful to everyone throughout the day. So even if you're having a hard day, one thing you do in the morning that provides a good ground for that. Certainly a lot of us will kind of laugh at that idea and just say, well, obviously coffee is the answer. And I can't disagree. I'm a big fan of coffee. I also think not drinking too much coffee is good. I try and have one or two a day, like coffee in the morning and a Americano in the afternoon. I think that's probably the max you can have without your hands being even more shaky than mine are, for example. But on a more quote-unquote spiritual level, I think waking up, having the phone be at least 7 feet, hopefully in a different room. I can't tell you the amount of friends I have who have their phone right by their pillow. Turn that thing on airplane mode, turn your alarm on, and put it in the bathroom, put it in a nearby room. And then you also have to get up, which is really helpful. So instead of just waking up and starting to scroll through your kind of monkey mind, you have a moment of reflecting on your dreams, reflecting on the beautiful day. Hopefully you're positioned in bed so you can see something, even just some sunlight, if not a real view. I've been in many apartments where I didn't have a good view, but I at least could see some sort of semblance of nature. So I've done videos on this on youtube.com/Relephant Journal. That's our main channel, and it's a big obsession of mine because I often work late and I work hard, and back in the day I used to have fun and stay up late, and so waking up in a kind of mindful, helpful, simple way is really important. The most single important thing for me is after I wake up and I go to the bathroom, I take my dog out, whatever, aside from kind of keeping the phone at arm's length or better, actually, more like 10-foot pole away from me so I can't reach it. Most important thing for me is just sitting down, dedicating myself to the benefit of others. That's super helpful for the ego to kind of have a reminder in the morning, like, my Buddhist teacher, the Sakyong, says his mantra, or the ego's mantra, all of our mantras really, is what about me? So there is a blog on there that somewhere, struggling to remember where it is, but that what about me video is on YouTube, and it's fantastic. It's this sort of spoken word Buddhist poetry thing that the Sakyong does. So, God, where is that? Couldn't tell you. But I guess you could search what about me and quote Sakyong on Relephant Journal, or we could, maybe Yoli could put that in the comments. Put that phone in another room. It's not welcome. It's really powerful. If you don't sleep well enough, a big part of that is that like 20% of your brain, you're never allowing it to relax fully, because part of it is always on alert. Maybe I'm going to get a super important phone call or something. I like to say I've never personally handled an emergency at 2 or 3 or 4 a.m. That's not really fully true, and parents will certainly disagree, but hopefully your toddlers or children aren't calling you on the phone. If you do need to have your phone there, God bless, that's fine, but really try, the intent is the important thing. Try and keep Netflix out of the bedroom, whatever. When you shut down, really shut down. Turn everything off. Make sure you don't have any of those little blue or green or red electrical lights around you. It's not that they're toxic. It's not that they're evil. None of that new agey stuff. It's just allow yourself to really fully sleep, basically. And then, so the most important thing for me is to rededicate myself okay, my day is about being a benefit to others, and then meditate for a couple minutes. So, sit down, have a good posture, and we'll do this meditation at the very end today, like we did yesterday. Yesterday was yet again our most popular video, which is super fun and cool. So as long as these are useful and helpful, we'll keep doing this. I was just making coffee, since I haven't had coffee yet, and that's kind of what gave me the idea to talk about this classic subject. And now you'll be relieved to know that I'm setting the phone down, since I can't hold it properly. Alrighty. So, what are your mindful tips for the morning? So my number one, we'll go over meditation instruction at the end, and for those of you who just want to meditate, you can mute me if you want, although the meditation instruction itself shouldn't be too much of a distraction from actually doing nothing. So meditation, Buddhists say, as my staff or friends are sick of hearing me say, Buddhists say the two most powerful times, if you are a busy person, you barely have any time, two most powerful times to meditate, to clear your mind and make you sharper, more insightful, more kind, more inspiring as a boss or a colleague, are first thing in the morning and last thing at night. Why? Because when you first wake up, you have that moment of clarity. You can kind of inject further clarity into that moment, and instead of just letting the to-do list kind of collapse upon you and becoming kind of your own storyline, buying into your own busyness fully. We can be busy and we can be productive, but we don't have to completely buy into that. We've all seen people who are kind of like, chickens with their heads cut off, just kind of maniacal, busy, walking around with their phone in front of them. So we've talked about that plenty, but there really is a sort of smartphone creep into the faces of particularly Americans. That's what I'm experienced with here in the US. More and more and more and more people are just... I was having dinner last night with Dave Rogers, who does our sponsorships, our advertising with Relephant, our revenues overall, and it was probably 50% of the people walking around on a Friday or on a Tuesday night had their phones in front of them, even if they were with a friend. And it's no way to live life. I have to be online, I have to blog, and I have to share and tweet and Facebook. And I have to do that because it's my job, but also hopefully it's my way to be of service. But when I'm not working, I definitely get rid of it. I have to Instagram, so I'm trying to capture mindful moments or beautiful things, anything that's sort of inspiring or helpful or meaningful. But other than that, I really try and keep it away. I related in a prior video, we do these every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. MST, that this lady I was dating would say, keep the phone, if you're going to have it on a table when we're eating, pretty much you shouldn't, but if you do, it should be face down. And I think that's common sense, and I think we all can practice these little things. So it's not that phones are bad, it's not that anything are bad, they're pretty amazing. I remember the 90s, when I was in Boston in school, I would, you'd make plans to meet someone in like Faneuil Hall or something, and if one person was 5, 10, 15 minutes late, or one person waited on the wrong corner of the whatever by the Gap, you didn't see that person all day and your plans were kind of shot. And there was a certain delight to that, just wandering around and being alone or whatever. But, phones are fantastic and useful, and we couldn't have Elephant Journal at all without Wi-Fi, etc. So it's not that we have to all go back to the land and live in a cabin, though that sounds pretty nice right now. Take a little break. All right, I'm going to try and read a couple of your mindful comments, and hopefully you'll have shared one mindful tip for what helps you get out of bed in the morning and be productive and helpful all day long. One thing you do in the morning. Lalomar, I'm not sure what you're saying other than hashtags, but I just Instagrammed about all the tragedies that have been happening around the world. All right, I'm going to start at the top. All right, Ali Blagden. I'm going to try to keep the phone in another room tonight. Fantastic. Yeah, it's really powerful. You'll find yourself sleeping deeper and having kind of amazing dreams. The dreams get way more kind of adventure-y in my experience and kind of tie into things that you've experienced your whole life. I love it. I love I'm a big fan of sleeping and dreaming. All right, Joel Labonte. Joel, we were just having this discussion, and it's so true. Thank you. So I needed this to be reinforced. Yeah, you bet. It's. I'm not saying this from the point of view of a teacher, obviously. I am trained in the Buddhist tradition a bit, but I'm saying this from the point of view of an idiot who needs this stuff so that I can tame my own self. Trungpa Rinpoche, my parents' Buddhist teacher, talked about how mindfulness or meditation or compassion or any of these practices that we talk about, really the power of them is to tame ourselves. We're already wonderful like a wild horse. We just need to kind of, Lauren, this goes along with your video from yesterday. Keeping your phone with you at night gives yourself the permission to be too busy. Yeah, exactly. If you listen to more than a couple of these videos, you'll basically have everything and you can move on. I've found myself tossing and turning at night and reaching for my phone and ending up being awake for hours upon hours. Yeah, there's this sort of like dull mind I get into as well, where you're like click, click, toggle, scroll, like Instagram or Reddit or whatever, and you just, you're wasting your precious human life. And maybe you're reading some cool stuff or whatever, but, it can probably wait. All right, until you're, really fully appreciating it and not just kind of half out of it. A good thing to do if you're tossing and turning at night is, instead of trying to sleep, trying is a sort of stressful thing, is just wake up, sit, breathe for a moment. We'll go over meditation at the end of this. And then, if you still are feeling very wakeful, get a book out and read. Actually enjoy your time being awake. And then, nothing puts you to sleep like just relaxing and reading. And then you can naturally kind of turn over and go back to sleep. A good old-fashioned paper book is amazing. I was talking with Mike Smith, former owner and manager at the Trident Cafe in Boulder, Colorado for many years. Yesterday we had lunch, and he was saying how they've done studies where, I guess it was people who fly airplanes, what do you call them, and airplane flyers, and their training manuals went all online at some point, so they're on Kindles or iPads or whatever, and their retention was like way worse. So they actually went back to these huge paper things, because when you're just reading paper, you have no distraction. So even if you are reading online, hide all those tabs, minimize that stuff, maybe turn your Wi-Fi off and just read something static. All right, back to Lauren. For me, I know how important it is to have a good morning routine, because so we have you're inspiring me. So we have one video by someone who knows what she's talking about. Maybe Lindsay, you can find this one. I forget her name. But she's a wonderful yoga teacher. She's been on the cover of Yoga Journal, and she goes through her morning routine, which is infinitely more, kind of pastel and beautiful and healthy than mine. Mine involves waking up without my phone near me, meditating, a little exercise, calisthenics kind of thing, getting my dog out, and then showering, and then going for it. All right. Back to Lauren. It makes this kind of mindful morning routine makes it easier to concentrate on important tasks and be more persistent on things you need to do. Yeah, we all struggle with a lack of focus or a lack of insight in our work life. So anyone who thinks you don't have time for a mindful morning routine, just know it'll save you tons of time. I wrote a blog titled, When I Don't Meditate, I'm a ass in the morning. And that's, I think, a pretty good blog that kind of captures that, when we're too busy to be present, we actually waste a ton of time, and then we're even way busier. So it actually saves time to slow down. There's a little quote right there, Lindsay, I think. We are still out for summer break, so it's easier for me to not stick to any morning routine because I know I don't have to get the kids ready for school and whatnot. I'm grateful for your reminder and helping me remember how important morning routines are. Yeah, but that points to a great thing, which is the Buddhist translation of discipline, as Trungpa Rinpoche would talk about, is joy. So waking up without any agenda or any routine is also, what a gift. Enjoy it. And if you lay around in bed and you have breakfast in bed and whatever, that's great. But maybe just sit up at some point, Touch in with your breath, dedicate yourself, and you're good. All right. Rhonda, I don't usually engage with my phone unless I'm alone, like when I'm watching videos or live feeds like this one. Awesome. Yeah, the only thing I would say is when you're alone, it's also really powerful to enjoy being alone. Like so many of us, I always say, you know, if you're at lunch and someone walks off to the bathroom and you're waiting for them, you just automatically see whoever's waiting get their phone out so they can be busy. Well, what about just sitting back and enjoying it? Or what about if when you're at a stoplight as a pedestrian, you just keep your phone in your pocket and just enjoy the moment, look around. And even if nothing's that pretty, it's nice to look at our world. Trunk Brimshay has a poem about that. We did an Elephant cover about that. Look at your world. So Yoli, if you can find that. Mick Verbruggen, familiar name, I think. Say to yourself the things you're blessed with, family, friends, things you do, like to do, and so on. That is wonderful. Yeah, just touching in with gratitude. I mean, how powerful is that? And how rarely do we do it deliberately? We all do it organically, like, wow, I love this peach, I love this movie, whatever. But how often do we just say, hey, what am I touching? What am I grateful for? I'm grateful for my mom. I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful to have a roof over my head. I'm grateful for a town that's relatively safe. I'm grateful for my mom. I'm grateful for coffee, which I need to drink. Ashley makes sure she smiles before she gets out of bed. Ashley is a nut, and it works. All right. That's the kind of sort of new agey advice normally I would pounce upon, but for Ashley, if any of you know her, she works with Relephant. She is probably the most cheerful, sweet, generous person on earth. Except for lately, she hasn't baked her cookies, which is, I think, kind of selfish. All right. Deep breaths while stretching. Yes. LG. I love your name. I can't say it, but I love it. Stretch every muscle possible before getting out of bed. That sounds like a teenage boy joke. All right. Twee? I don't know how to say half these names. I'm going to try to keep the phone out of reach tonight and go back to telling myself one thing that I'm grateful for before getting out of bed in the morning. Yeah, and don't forget yourself. Be grateful for your sweet self once in a while. Nothing's wrong with that. Samantha, thanks for the videos. I'm struggling with this topic myself. Yeah, we all are. And that's hopefully one of the great things about these videos is you realize that, you know, it's kind of like those For Dummies books, Mindfulness for Dummies. Like, we're all dummies, and it still works. That's the magic of it. I remember when I was like 18 or 17, and I just gone to college, and I came back from college to this place in Vermont where I lived, Carmichaeling, and I was kind of miserable at college, which was a surprise to me. I'd been pretty social and happy in high school, and I went to college, and I had a great month. Everything was cool, and then I had like a rough roommate, and you know, my classes were great, but they didn't take that much time, and I was working all the time, and I just felt really lonely, like so lonely, like my heart was freezing. And I went back to Vermont, and I did this Shambhala training level, which any of you can do. Not pushing it, but they're fantastic, and they're simple, and they're relatively affordable. Actually, very affordable, and they have a sliding scale. At your local Shambhala center, you can look them up. And so I did this Shambhala level, which was basically just consisted of meditating and talks and discussion groups and eating cookies, Ashley. And I remember it worked. Like, the meditation just worked. And I went from being kind of confused and miserable and lost to feeling just complete. I remember walking outside and looking at the flowers and looking at the sky and looking at the pond and appreciating my life and just remembering that I could enjoy being human and I could enjoy the present moment. Instead of trying to constantly figure out and strategize your way through life, which is ego, you can just kind of relax and appreciate it, and then things unfold kind of naturally, which is what they call in Buddhism auspicious coincidence. And I've done some blogs on that. There's another, so if we could put auspicious coincidence in the comments, Yoli is helping me out today, that would be amazing. And the other blog that has nothing to do with anything I've talked about, but I could talk about it tomorrow, is Idiot Compassion. It's a great subject to read about for any of you who feel like you're a doormat sometimes. All right. Tracy, I chant, I am happy, I am healthy, I am grateful several times before getting out of bed, and if I wake up in the night, totally works to put me back to sleep and I wake up with a smile. Well, that sounds great. I'm not personally a fan of affirmations, but I feel like they're a little bit like, if you've gone insane and you're rocking back and forth, holding your knees in the fetal position, you're like, I'm okay. Or like that SNL skit about, I'm okay and I like myself and gosh darn it, people like me, whatever. That said, if the affirmations are about your basic fundamental goodness, which it sounds like they are, that sounds healthy and simple and wonderful. And obviously, if it's working for you, that's great. Who am I to disagree? All right. But I think it's important, as we've discussed, not to get into affirmations that are sort of denying your present reality. Like if you're sad, that's okay. And acknowledging that without shame, as we see in the blues music, in sad music generally, can be a beautiful, powerful thing. It's okay not to suppress confusion or bad feelings or feeling lost. There's this blog called Maitri that I might have mentioned that we could leave in the comments that talks about the very difficult, hard work we have to do to embrace our own difficult experience of life, especially when life is, things are falling apart or things have gone wrong, like a dear loved one is sick or something. Rhonda, you're nailing it. Good work. Zurich, amazing names today. Definitely have better sleep when my phone is more than 5 feet away from me. Yeah, I think health-wise, and I don't think this is gobbledygook, it's actually in the small print now, 7 feet away is good, if you can. I've been in the industry for 20 years and know how disruptive the cell crystal can be to our minds at rest. Tell us more. That sounds fascinating. We do have blogs on Elephant about cell phones and health and radiation, and all of them are approached from a scientific point of view, I hope. And if they're not, don't read them. Leah Cullis, there it is. Thank you, whoever put that there. Leah Cullis, amazing morning routine. I think she's totally beautiful human being. All right. What about an elephant app? Alan, it's funny you asked because we just had a meeting partially about that last night. We have neither the time, the attention, nor the money, nor the developer to do it. So, though I pushed for it quite thoroughly in that meeting, and the other people also want it, I don't think it's in the cards. So if anyone wants to donate building and maintaining an app for us, that would be great. But apps, while they sound simple, you have to maintain them, and then, it's like $5,000 here and $5,000 here. So Elephant, unlike 90% of media, probably 98% of media is independent, which means, basically we're always, whatever money we have, we're spending on staff, we're reinvesting in Elephant, and we have no money. We kind of break even right now. We had some savings last year, but then all these changes with Facebook happened. Nothing against Facebook, but we've dropped down, so we've lost half our savings. So now we have just enough to pay our staff, and we're trying not to lay anyone off. Basically, I've been stressing about that for a couple weeks now, and Facebook just announced they're going to push news down below kind of your friends and family, which sounds good, but before I had tons of friends and family and community on Facebook. I love that part of Facebook, but I also got to read good news articles that people were sharing, and Facebook is really good at that, and so that's going to be tough for Elephant and for all journalism. So if you want to support Elephant for free, without spending $1, getting our newsletter is the single best way to do that. And I try and say that every video because right now we're in this transition with Facebook where we don't know what will happen. Elephant could just disappear from your lives. So you're seeing this video only because Facebook Live is new and Facebook is promoting videos. And also these videos get good reach and comments and do well, hopefully. All right, but Alan, thank you for asking. I want an app because every day I read New York Times on my newsstand app. All right. Tui, or I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry. Tracy, I put the tea bags and cups out the night before. You're organized. You're more organized than me. So I know I will have that treat each morning. That's so good psychologically. My phone gets plugged in at 9 p.m. every night, and I don't turn it on till after I've meditated, had tea, and recheck my schedule for the day. I work from home, and so I try to get up the same time each day. Otherwise, I would lounge all day. Awesome. So the only thing I would say is turn everything off if you can at night. maybe not turning off your phone, but putting on airplane mode like it sounds like you do. But, you know, if you're leaving stuff plugged in, even if they're not plugged into anything, they're using just about the same energy. So you're wasting a ton of electricity. So from an environmental or a financial point of view, unplug everything all the time. Put it on power strips. Turn off the power strips. We have a great article on Relephant about, it's actually a great article. It may sound boring, but it says every time before you go to sleep, do this. Something like that. It has an image of a power strip. I bet Lindsay could remember that one and find it. If not, Yoli. LG, I still can't say your name. Sun gazing is awesome if it's not too cold to get out of bed. Just a few minutes as the sun rises. That sounds amazing. All right, I think we're out of comments. So I'm going to do a moment of meditation. And if you've done this, you can mute it. Although I encourage you to hear it. If you do a different kind of meditation, listen to it. All right. Take a good posture, sit up straight, and relax. So you feel your spine, feel your lungs, feel your heart. Breathe deeply, great posture. Get your shoulders up, back down, and relax. You can wangle your neck around, you know, kind of limber up. I'm really stiff today, so it's nice to move around. Then you can move your sit bones, kind of connect with the earth, ground. Your hands can be open on your thighs, very simple, no mudra. And eyes open, we're not trying to shut out the world. Let's breathe in and out, maybe say 6 times. No need to count. Just place your attention lightly on your breath, in and out. Your mouth can be slightly open. Eyes are open, maybe 45 degrees down. If you find yourself thinking, worrying, thinking about lunch, thinking about coffee, self-conscious, arguing a fight that you've had or want to have, thinking about cookies, whatever it is, you can label it thinking. Just notice it and gently say, I'm thinking, and return your attention to your breath. Let's try that. And then you can put your hands together in Anjali, which has a little gap over here. It's like the shape of a Bodhi seed, so it's relaxed. Or you can put your hands on your thighs. And everyone, let's actually do it. Let's offer one another a bow of respect, a reminder of your mission, my mission, our mission as a community, Relephant, everyone, to try and be a benefit to animals, to human beings, to our family, to our loved ones, even to our enemies, to bring peace to our lives from the kitchen sink on up. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. MST. I do these. When I talk about sex or relationships, we get hundreds of comments. Morning routines, a few less. And get our newsletter if you want to keep Relephant in your life, because we're disappearing from Facebook fast, or hopefully not. All right, thank you so much.